Well, Richo, let me go to you. Household spending is down, business investment is down, only government spending is up and keeping the economy out of recession. But record government spending can't prop up the economy forever, can it?
No, not forever. You have got to hope that it gets a return. It hasn't got that return yet, but I guess Chalmers is hoping that return comes soon.
I reckon he's got every finger crossed. Meanwhile, Chalmers has been royally told off by John Howard for blaming his economic woes on the RBA's interest rate hikes. Writing in The Australian, John Howard said there's little argument that the Albanese government has lost control of expenditure. By his opportunistic and quite disloyal remarks, Chalmers has diminished himself, not Bullock. That's Michelle Bullock from the RBA. Michael, should Chalmers be embarrassed by these comments?
Well, of course he should be. I mean, John Howard knows more about the economy than almost any Australian alive, given the fact that he was Treasurer under Malcolm Fraser's government and then Prime Minister for almost 12 years. I mean, Chalmers, this is a political act, by the way. Let's make no mistake about this, James. The Labor Party leadership have decided, how do we get away from the fact that there have been all these 13 interest rate rises on our watch? Australian mortgage holders, 80% of them on variable rates, so they're getting murdered. Any homeowner with a mortgage is getting murdered. How do we shift the blame from us? Because they said they had a cost of living plan, of course. There was an emergency under Scott Morrison that they had a plan to fix. They had no plan. It was just advertising guff. It was polybabble. So what they've done politically is decide, let's shift the blame to the Reserve Bank. Let's sort of wink, wink, it's their fault, right? So you've seen my friend Stephen Conroy, you've seen Craig Emerson, now you've seen the Treasurer, you've seen other Labor figures coming out blaming the Reserve Bank. This is a political act to try and take the heat off the government and blame the Reserve Bank board. I think 4 or 5 of whom they've appointed.
It certainly seems that way. Richo, based on what we've seen for the past 2 years, let me ask you this. Why should Australians have any confidence this government knows what it's doing?
Well, I think there are so many fronts where the government has shown it's doing well. The trouble is on the front where these kind of judgments are going to be made, Labor's just a bit soft. And so it's suffering at the moment because of that. But I think Albo and Chalmers between them will work that out. They'll sort it out. We'll move on. The economy will stay solid, and Labor will win again.
I like your optimism, Richo, I really do. Hey, at least the Coalition are committed to generating wealth rather than squandering it. They've promised to approve the beleaguered New South Wales gold mine if they win the upcoming federal election. Have a listen to Nationals leader David Littleproud. He's with Senator Jacinta Price earlier today.
I can tell you that while this is the biggest issue in town, this is also the biggest issue for the resource sector right across the nation. Unless Minister Plibersek wants to come out and publicly give the reasons, then ultimately this company has done all that they've been asked of.
Minister Plibersek has a lot of answers to give for the questions that are being asked by this community.
Michael, is this a smart move from the Coalition?
Yeah, of course it is, and they're absolutely right. I mean, what a farcical decision. This is embarrassing. When we're a first world country. So Tanya Plibersek makes this decision. It's secret. She can't tell us why she's made it. The landowners in the area, the recognised traditional owners are saying it's gumph. And because she's never run a business and has no idea about how a mine operates or geology operates, simply says, I'll move the tailings dam somewhere else. I mean, people have got no idea how these public companies, these mining companies work. Without the mining industry in this country, we would be in a serious depression in this country. Yet Plibersek, Albanese, they're all anti-mining. They want to kill off coal, gas, whatever. For goodness sake, what are we going to run this country on? Solar panels. We're going to have a solar panel-led economy to beat off those Chinese who, I mean, this is not serious. This has made us an international laughingstock. And these mining companies committing millions and millions of shareholder dollars to these projects and having them kiboshed at the last minute for unexplained reasons by people who the traditional owners have never heard of. It makes a laughingstock of this country, a laughingstock of the minister and a laughingstock of the government.
Well, Richo, here's the thing I can't understand about this whole fiasco. Tanya Plibersek has blocked the project on cultural grounds, but also says cultural grounds prevent her from explaining the decision to block the project. So how can the government expect people to be okay with that kind of communication or lack thereof?
I don't think you can ever expect it to be okay if you don't explain what you're doing. So I'm not going to try and defend that one. You can't.